Welcome everyone to the Centerway Enhancements Community Meeting. I want to thank you for joining us. My name is John Wilden, Project Manager with Montgomery Parks, and this evening we'll also be joined by my colleague, Kathy Deerstein. Before we begin, a few quick housekeeping notes. First, we are recording this presentation and it will be posted on our project website following the presentation so you can refer back to any information. Second, I want to direct your attention to the upper right of your screen where you see a question mark. This is your question and answer box. And this is where you can submit your questions or comments at any time throughout the presentation. And we will set aside time at the end to address these questions, but I want to encourage you to submit comments throughout the presentation. We will also be posting important links and contact information there throughout the presentation. Additional comments can also be submitted on the project's Open Town Hall webpage. There, we will have a community survey posted to solicit specific feedback. You can also contact me directly via email at john.wilden, WHILDEN, at montgomeryparks.org or by phone at 301-495-3581. So here are the important links and contacts. Again, the Open Town Hall link and the project website. The project website is the central hub for all this project information. This is where we will post a recording of the meeting notes, project updates, and other important information. And again, last is my contact information, and we will have all this up at the end for you to jot down if need be. The goal of our meeting this evening is to inform the community about the park and the scope of the project, Montgomery County's playground program, present information specific to this project, provide an overview of playground equipment and park improvements, but ultimately we're here to listen. At the end of the presentation, we will have time to answer questions, address comments, and listen to your feedback. But again, throughout the presentation, please post any questions you may have in the Q&A box. We're here tonight because we want to know about your priorities for a safe and engaging play setting for the children of this community, what your needs are, and how we can best accommodate your needs through this renovation project. So I'll begin by discussing some general information about the site and the project. Centerway Local Park is located on the western side of Montgomery County in the town of Montgomery Village. The park was acquired by Montgomery Parks in 1986. The park is approximately 18.5 acres and includes 2 large athletic fields surrounded by a paved pedestrian path, a parking lot off of Centerway Road, a picnic shelter, and a playground. And please note, for this project, we will only be focusing on the area in the southern portion of the park that's outlined in white. We'll be focusing on accessibility improvements, a new picnic shelter, and a playground. Zooming in, this will be the area of focus for the project. The parking lot has a portable restroom and is connected to the picnic shelter along the paved path. The parking lot, paved path, and picnic shelter will be updated to meet accessibility standards and provide accessible routes between each of these amenities. The existing playground includes equipment for 2 to 5 and 5 to 12-year-old children, swings, seating along the perimeter, and a trash can. So we'll now go through a series of site images to show you the existing conditions. This first image shows the existing parking lot with an accessible space, portable restroom, and a paved path in the background. The parking lot does require an additional accessible space with signage and accessibility to the restroom. This is the existing picnic shelter, which will be expanded to accommodate accessibility requirements, including tables. And it shows the existing picnic shelter with a paved path and playground in the background. Here's the existing play equipment with the swings and 5 to 12-year-old equipment in the foreground and the 2 to 5-year-old equipment in the background. Here's another image of the play equipment. The 2 to 5-year-old is on the left and the 5 to 12 is on the right. The scope of this project will include new play equipment, seating for parents and caregivers, updated accessibility improvements for the parking lot and paved path, a new picnic shelter, and improved stormwater management. So the budget for this project is $500,000, and I would like to give a special thank you to Senator Nancy King. Senator King sponsored a state bond bill totaling $250,000, which accounts for half of our total budget for this project. I would now like to introduce my colleague, Kathy Deerstein, who will be discussing the Montgomery County's Playground Renovation Program.
Thank you, John. Good evening. I'm Kathleen Deerstein with Montgomery Parks. I am the project coordinator for the Playground Renovation Program. As John mentioned, I will be explaining how this program works. In order to design a playground, it is necessary to understand how important play is to a child. Play is a fundamental part of each child's world, enhancing cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development. It is instinctive. It isn't just physical. Children learn through play. As Fred Rogers said, play gives children a chance to practice what they are learning. Play is perhaps the most influential catalyst for growth and learning during early childhood. The Department of Parks has 276 playgrounds countywide. Each is inspected monthly by a certified playground safety inspector for code compliance and routine maintenance. Repairs, if possible, are made at that time. Comprehensive playground renovations are made through the PLAR, Playground Renovation Capital Improvement Program, or as part of an entire park renovation. Playgrounds in the current schedule for replacement are at the end of their life cycle. We estimate that the life cycle of a playground to be approximately 20 years. Average cost for local park playground replacements is $250,000. Current funding renovates 6 playgrounds per year, which puts them on a 46-year life cycle. There are 111 playgrounds in the system over 20 years old. When we prioritize our playground renovations, we consider the following criteria. The performance checklist. This is a numerical condition rating, which is filled out by the playground safety inspectors once a year. The age of the playground. 40% of our current playgrounds are beyond their life cycle for replacement. Is the equipment or decks made from treated wood? Prior to 2004, wood was commonly treated with a chemical preservative that is no longer used. We have prioritized removing this equipment from the park system, but in the interim, we have a program to seal the equipment annually to protect users. As the playground safety inspector recommended a higher priority for other reasons, such as have components or equipment been removed and replaced with a less dynamic activity? Are parts no longer available or equipment has been removed from the playground over time and not replaced? Surfacing is hard to maintain. The playground's location within the park is poorly situated. We are also prioritizing playgrounds in lower income and ethnically diverse areas. There is no federal playground safety law, but most states have enforcement of playground safety criteria as a legal standard of care. As certified playground safety inspectors, we follow the guidelines set by the American Society for Testing and Materials International, U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the International Playground Equipment Manufacturers Association. Once we know what the priorities are and that the funding is available, we set up a meeting to obtain the community's input for what they would like to see within their playground. A design is prepared based on the community's needs and the standards of the department. The concept is shared with the community for final comment, and then construction drawings are prepared, permits are secured, equipment is ordered, and the playground is constructed. John will now go over the Centerway project specifically.
Thank you, Kathy. I'll begin by discussing some general information about playgrounds and play equipment, park improvements, and then we'll conclude with our Q&A session. And again, at any time, please enter your questions and comments into the Q&A box. Typical components of a playground include protective surfacing in the event of a fall, edging around the surfacing and play equipment, under drainage to prevent water from saturating the surface, and stormwater management. Paved pedestrian and accessible route, including ADA access. Separate activities for children 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 years old. And these age groups are based on childhood development studies and consumer safety standards. Mix of activities such as active, imaginary, and social play. Seating for caregivers and parents, and maintenance access. So we'll now walk through some examples of play equipment broken down by the two age groups, 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. And please note that as we're walking through these examples, this is not the specific equipment that we'll be placing at the site. Rather, the intention of this is to provide an overview of equipment that manufacturers are producing these days, and also to help you generate some thoughts and ideas of what you may want to see installed at the park. So examples of equipment for 2 to 5-year-olds include enclosed swings, simple slides, crawl tubes, balancing activities, multi-spring toys, spinning activities, jumping, bouncing, easy climbers, simple bridges, and interactive and imaginary play. So this slide shows the types of equipment suitable for children 2 to 5. Top image shows a modern take on a tire swing, which is an interactive piece. The middle image at the top are low climbers and balancing equipment, and on the right are imaginative play pieces. On the bottom, on the far left, is an interactive piece with tactile activities. In the middle, a nature-themed seesaw, and on the right, a bouncer. So this is an example of climbers. On the left and the top right, these are rope climbers that allow kids to climb their way up to the playground tower. And on the bottom right, these are geometric cubes that enable kids to crawl through and climb up. Here are 4 play systems for younger children, each with a different form and emphasis on activity. On the top left, there's a themed element with a frog that doubles as a climber and access to the slide. On the bottom left is a piece that focuses on low climbing and movement. On the top right, the play equipment has more abstract shape and brighter colors. And on the bottom right, the equipment is more open and has an angular shape. And as a side note, while you're thinking about specific equipment or pieces of equipment, also consider any preferences you have for colors. The new playground will be at a site that is open and will receive a lot of sunlight. For the older children, ages 5 to 12, playground equipment examples include swings, challenging slides, chain or cable walks, freestanding climbers, towers, horizontal climbers, parallel bars, track rides, vertical sliding poles, and spinning activities. So here are some examples that are suitable for children 5 to 12. Here are 2 examples of standalone pieces that serve both age groups. The image at the top is a modern take on a tire swing that can accommodate multiple generations or multiple children at one time. On the bottom is a spinner that enables interactive and social play, and in the background of that you can see an example of a standalone climber, also with elements for various age groups. Here are examples of climbers. The top image, in the foreground, there's a piece with a larger standing area as kids move through it to the top. And in the background of that image, you can see a standalone large rope climber. The bottom is an image of a climbing equipment that's lower and more linear. and these are climbing elements that can be strung together to create even an obstacle course and encourage children to move from one element to another. This is an example of a play system that has angular support features that's very open with a lot of visibility. Here's an example of a climbing tower, which includes shade structures above and slides of various heights. This is a playground with a large freestanding climber on the left, and this piece allows children to go over, underneath, and through. On the right is a modern freestanding climber, and this has multiple slide options as well. This is a play element that showcases nature-themed equipment. The climbing tower looks like a tree house with a log slide and a log walk and other nature elements throughout the playground. The priority for this meeting is to hear your feedback, and here are some examples of questions that will help us as we develop design concepts for the play equipment and the site. What are your priorities for activities and types of play equipment? Are there other playgrounds that have equipment or features that you or your children find interesting? Are there play themes that are of interest to you? And also, what color schemes do you prefer for the new play equipment? Questions such as these will be included in the Open Town Hall survey. If you have questions or thoughts, again, please enter them in the Q&A box at any time. We'll now walk through and discuss other park improvements. So here's a simple diagram that shows the scope of the park improvements, including new picnic shelter, parking lot enhancements, and accessible connections between each of these new amenities. Lot improvements will include resurfacing and grading, ensuring adequate number of accessible spaces, pavement markings and signage, and an accessible portable restroom. For the paved path, we want to ensure an accessible route between the new playground, shelter, parking lot, existing path, and restroom. The picnic shelter will be replaced with updated accessible tables, trash and recycling receptacles, and a grill. In addition, we will ensure accessible spacing for movement around the shelter and a connection to the paved path. Here are some examples of picnic shelters. On the top left is a gable roof shelter with stone columns. On the top right is a metal frame shelter that has a more modern aesthetic. On the bottom left is another metal structure with an arched roof. And on the bottom right is a timber frame shelter. In the background of that one, you can also see a small seating wall at the edge of the concrete pad. So again, we're here today to hear your feedback, and here are some questions that will help us accommodate your needs. So what style and color of shelter do you prefer? Do you use the existing shelter? If so, what type of activities or gatherings do you currently use it for? When visiting the park, how many of the park amenities do you typically use, and which ones? So we'll now move into the discussion session of the presentation. The general timeline of this project is as follows. We will be developing design concepts this winter based on your feedback from today and in the coming weeks. We will then be posting our concepts to another round of the county's Open Town Hall page for review and comment this spring. In addition, the community members can also reach out directly by sending me an email or calling me directly. In summer 2021, we will be developing design and construction documents, and we plan to begin construction in spring of 2022. So we will have an Open Town Hall page on our website. We will also be posting that in the Q&A box. And here's the link to the page. The Open Town Hall will include a variety of multiple choice open-ended questions, and the questions are below are examples of feedback that will be helpful for us to understand as we develop concepts for the site. Next steps in the project are to collect feedback from this evening over the next few weeks. Use your feedback to develop these site concepts and then post these concepts on our Open Town Hall page for review. All right, here again is the Open Town Hall link. Below is our project website where you can find all information related to the project. This includes this recorded meeting from this evening, project schedule updates, and the link to the Open Town Hall page. If you'd like, I am available to take questions and comments, and you can reach out to me directly. Email is the best way to contact me, but I can also be reached on my direct line at 301-495-3581. For questions or comments related to park maintenance, please contact the Parks Information Customer Service at info@montgomeryparks.org or by calling 301-495-2595. So now I'd like to open up the discussion to all of you watching this presentation and turn it over to my colleague, Kathy Deerstein, to begin the question and answer session.
We had a question, John, on the accessibility to get to the playground, and I think as the presentation went on, you answered that by saying yes, there would be. Then we have from Mr. Ball, he likes the top left or the bottom right shelters you provided, but he has a question on how many trash cans, recycle cans will be in the whole project.
That's a great question. I think the number of trash cans that will be in the entire project will kind of largely depend on the size of the shelter, but we'll have several for the playground and the picnic shelter as well.
And then there were some questions about our points of contact and how to, you know, give input.
Yeah, so for input, we do have the Open Town Hall page that will have specific information, or excuse me, specific questions about equipment and types of equipment and so forth. You can also provide feedback directly to me. You can reach me at my email at john.wilden, WHILDEN, at montgomeryparks.org.
So far, so good.
Yes.
You must have given a thorough presentation.
So it looks like we have a comment about a nature theme for the playground. So yes, thank you for that comment, and that's definitely something we'll keep in mind as we develop these concepts.
Well, that looks like the end of the questions. We'll send it back to you, John, to wrap it up.
All right, thank you, Kathy. And we might give it one more minute just in case anyone has any final questions. But in the meantime, I'd like to extend a special thank you to Senator Nancy King for the support in sponsoring the state bond bill to fund half of this project. I also want to thank Montgomery Parks staff who helped make this meeting possible. Aaron Pant, Melissa Kolscher, Patricia McManus, Shannon Olson, and Alex Gurner. So it looks like we've got one more question. Will there be regular police patrols to the park during after park hours? That's a great question. I know the parks do close after dark, and I'm not sure if this project is going to change any sort of police patrols or their regular schedule, but that's certainly I can contact Park Police and get an answer for you on that.
It will be part of the regular patrols, but if you do see something going on in the park that doesn't look like an event, please call our park police and they'll send out a car to handle it.
All right, well, I want to thank everybody for joining this evening. Appreciate you taking the time to join the meeting, ask questions. And again, please make sure you've got these links, the Open Town Hall, and visit our project webpage for all updates. And if you have any questions, please contact me directly if needed. And thank you so much for joining this evening, and we hope to hear from you very soon.
Thank you.